So I thought I'd film a video of this original 80s Little Caesars wooden sign that came out of a restaurant. If you remember back in the day, mid to late 80s, early 90s, these were in the lobby of the customer waiting area, and most all Little Caesars restaurants, you'd go in to get your 2 pizzas for the price of 1. You'd see this guy standing on the wall. Your mouth would start watering for hot pizza. It was just kind of a cool thing. I bought this off Facebook Marketplace. It was down in Ocala, Florida. I went and bought it May 21st, 2023. It's almost a year ago. Went and picked it up. You don't see a lot of these at all. This is the only one I've ever seen, I think, for sale online, that somebody actually preserved it and saved it. These things were removed probably somewhere in the late 90s or early 2000s when Little Caesars revamped and did their $5 hot and ready kind of a thing. They kind of changed up the mascot a little bit. If you notice Little Caesar today, they've taken away his chest hair. They changed a little bit of stuff on top of his head from his profile. But this was how he looked a long time ago, when, if you're in your 30s, 40s or up, you remember Little Caesar looking like this back in the day. But anyway, I bought this sign and preserved it, kept it from going to a landfill or being destroyed. We'll look at it and we'll go over some things about it. It must have been outside in the weather for a while. There's no date on it, but the paint is flaking pretty bad when you get up close to it. I have never drilled any holes in it, so these are the factory holes where these things were mounted to the wall. But all this was painted on, or however these things were made, printed. It's a piece of plywood. It's 3/4 inch thick plywood. It's white on the back side, and has the cartoon animated look, so everything's really thick, everything's outlined. Got a hole here where it was a mounting hole. One here. There's several throughout. So up close, this thing kind of looks rough. It's definitely seen better days. But it's a cool piece of vintage advertising from, my childhood era. So when I saw this online, I had to go buy it. I got it at a really good price. Thought I kind of like preserving older things. I don't know why. It's kind of a hobby of mine to document and preserve some of this older stuff that's, as things change and go digital, and kind of the old signage and old things from restaurants that I enjoyed as a kid, or had a good time doing whatever, eating the pizza there. But if you go on YouTube and look up vintage Little Caesars pizza commercials, I sat down one day and watched, must have been 20 or 30 old vintage commercials. The only one I could see this in, if you go on YouTube and watch the pizza commercial for a gimmick Little Caesars had back in 1994, so 30 years ago this year, for pizza by the foot. There's a little 30-second commercial. Pizza by the foot. A guy walks into a Little Caesars, orders pizza by the foot. It comes in a long, skinny box. The guy picks his box up and goes to walk out, and he knocks over everything in the restaurant. The door closes, the glass breaks. If you look in the background, you'll see this exact sign mounted to the wall.
The good news is Little Caesar's Pizza by the Foot is big. That's also the bad news.
Hey, look out!
Other than that, that's the only official thing I can find anywhere online where these signs used to hang up. But if you've gone to Little Caesars, you know, in your life, you remember these were everywhere back in the day. Almost all the restaurants had them. Just going to zoom in here. You see, it looks pretty rough up close. A lot of this stuff just flaking off. There's little holes in the paint everywhere up close. In the eyes. You can touch this orange paint and it just flakes off. You can see the little pieces as it chips and falls down. So again, there's no date on the back of this thing. There's no factory or company. Obviously, it was an official sign by Little Caesars. So I don't know for sure exactly what year these were made and put into restaurants. I just know that somewhere around 85, 86, 87 in that area was probably the first time I ever went to a Little Caesars as a kid. And I remember just, it was always there on the wall in the lobby. So again, there's no date on this thing of officially when these things were made. And they hung up in the restaurants for years, and they were, you know, eventually all removed in the early 2000s as Little Caesars revamped their lobbies and modernized things a little bit with the times. These were all discarded and thrown away, I guess. But this is one that didn't get destroyed. So I thought it'd be cool when I found it to save it, clean it up, keep it from further damage. My original idea was to maybe put it in my game room at home. I've got like an arcade at home, a couple of arcade machines from way back, and thought it looked cool in there. Well, once I saw how bad the paint's flaking, I don't want to have to vacuum up paint all the time and everything like that. So I thought about sanding this thing down and repainting it, but then I kind of don't want to mess up the originality of it. So I haven't really touched it and done anything to it, just other than keeping it inside where, you know, it shouldn't go further, deteriorate any further. But I'm a pretty good artist. I can paint well and draw, and been doing that my whole life. So I thought I would try making an exact copy of it. So I did. I took a big piece of plywood, laid this thing out on the plywood. I traced around it with a pencil and a Sharpie, and took a jigsaw and cut it out. And it's pretty tall. To the tip of that spear, I'll measure it in just a moment. It's about 6 feet, and then the widest part across is about 4 feet, and it's 3/4 of an inch thick. But anyway, I decided to try to make a copy of this thing. So, like I said, I traced it out, made a copy, cut it out. I color matched all this paint to a Sherwin-Williams paint book. Now, I took into consideration this thing is from the late 80s, and it was inside of a pizza restaurant for years, And, you know, some of these colors have probably faded some from how it looked. Lighting affects different things. But I color matched the cheese, the pepperoni, the skin color, the green, the pink tongue. The pink tongue and the pepperoni are really close, but they're a little bit different. The pepperoni's a little darker than the tongue, pink. So I had a separate color mixed up for the pepperoni versus the tongue. You know, flat black is flat black as far as the outlining goes. The orange has a kind of a vintage orange look to it. It's not like a bright neon orange. But anyway, I tried to color match everything really well. So I did, and I had Sherwin-Williams mix up a quart of all these colors, and I made my own sign. So you can tell me what you think. Here we go. This is the copy that I made by hand. Same thickness of plywood, but it's all brand new. I tried to give it that same textured look. Now I haven't drilled holes yet. I can come back anytime and drill the holes exactly where the factory drilled the holes years ago and mount it. Right now I just finished this thing maybe a week ago, but I think it came out great. That way I didn't have to mess with the originality of the other sign. I just made a whole complete copy. I think it came out really well. I'm very happy with the results, and I just kind of wanted to see if I could do it. So I think I will go back soon, possibly, and drill the holes. I gave little Caesar back his chest hair. But anyway, I think it came out really good. I'm happy with it. I'll put them side by side in just a minute. You can see them. That's the copy. And there's the original. I painted it just like the original in every way. So the whole back side is painted solid white. It's trimmed in black. All the edge all the way around is black, just like the original. And most of these colors you see, there's 2 and 3 coats of each color, so the paint's nice and thick on here. It'll certainly last a lifetime. But anyway, I'm going to set my camera up and walk over and measure it here. Give you an idea how tall it is for sure. I'm pretty sure it's like 6 feet by 4 feet. It's about 73 inches to the top, so just over 6 feet. I got about 61 inches from way over here to the tip of the foot. 61, 62. Going at an angle from here down over here. From elbow to elbow is 37. .43 across the bottom. .65 to the top, right here. 65 inches. .68.5 to the top of here. So anyway, it's a big sign. I made a stencil to help make the face go a little faster. So I made this to give me the accurate, put it up against the ear. It goes right to the tongue and the mouth, the eyes. So when I'm making this one over here, the copy, get my plywood cut out and sanded, I can take this, come over here, lay this up, line it up, draw my mouth, my eyes, get lined up right with the arm. So it's pretty much this stencil just helps me speed up the process when I'm making copies of these things. So brings me to my next point. I finished my copy here about a week ago, and I thought maybe other people may want one too for their game room at home, or put up in their garage or something, if you're from that era where you collect signed stuff. So I decided to make copies for sale. So if anybody's interested in having one of these, measured off of an original, color matched to an original, pretty much be like having having a brand new version of it, contact me and we'll talk. Takes a bit to make these. A lot of time goes into it. I can trace it and cut it out, sand it pretty quick. Do that in about do that in a day for sure. And get a coat of paint on it. But it is a lot of detail work. And like I said, every color goes about 2 to 3 coats, so it's nice and thick. But I can make copies of these if you'd like. I would allow, maybe as of right now, I have a full-time job, so I can work on these like on the weekends and in the evenings. But I'm doing it by myself. But it's a lot of man hours, a lot of detail work. Probably 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a little quicker, give or take, to make a copy, and allow for all the paint to dry, do another coat, paint to dry, do the trim work, outline everything. But it's pretty much almost like a 100% copy. I'll put them side by side here and let you see for sure. Now the original on the right is leaning back a little bit more than the one on the left, so the light looks a little bit off how it's hitting it, but you can see there side by side, pretty darn close. Anyway, if you like this kind of stuff, I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel where I have other things that I make. I make replicas of a lot of stuff from the 80s. I'm a big fan of the Karate Kid, the original movie trilogy. And I make replicas of the All Valley trophy that Daniel LaRusso wins at the end of his match with Johnny Lawrence. I make screen accurate replicas of that. You can contact me and check those out. I'm going to be putting up a video of one of the trophies and some of the trophies that I offer that are replicas of that movie. But just kind of follow, like, and subscribe below. My contact stuff for now. It's my email. Just reach out to me. kcjones90@aol.com. Yeah, I've been using it like 20 years. But that's the best way to get a hold of me. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll come back with more random videos like this. Thanks.